My name is Socrates. I'm a Kenyan orator, writer, and poet in English and French. This is my UPENN journey. A francophone country outside of Kenya, because I knew that as soon as I get to between French, doors will open and I'll be able to leave the country and pursue my further studies out there. Because for me, I told myself I'm not studying here in Kenya. Come rain, come sunshine. May the world burn, but it won't burn finding me in Kenya doing my degree course here. Not that I have anything against the Kenyan institutions, I just knew what I wanted, and that was not it. Welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Socrates Okong'o. I'm a Kenyan student who was accepted into the University of Pennsylvania. That's an Ivy League institution, amongst the top, most searched for, wanted universities to study in. Top tier stuff. I was accepted into the Huntsman Program. And the Huntsman Program simply means I'll do a dual degree. A dual degree is 2 degrees in 4 years instead of 8. The first degree is going to be in international studies. The second degree is going to be in business. Business at the Wharton School of Business. That's where Donald J. Trump studied. That's where Elon Musk studied. So many prominent people have have graced those halls. And I shall be amongst them. You see, let me tell you something interesting. I had made a script for this video. Everything was structured from start to finish. At this point, I'll say this. At that point, I'll say this. Then the hooks. You know this stuff on social media. I'm going to put a hook there. I'm going to capture my audience, blah, 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 and all that stuff. I'd established all that. But again, I sat down here in front of the camera and had an epiphany. An epiphany that I have been given a chance. I've been given a chance. Yes. Not many Kenyans make it into Ivy Leagues. And those that do make it into Ivy Leagues don't leave a blueprint behind for others to follow. What that simply means is that, 1, not many Kenyans make it into Ivy Leagues. 2, those that do leave no trace behind. That means that every single Kenyan who makes these attempts to get into these prestigious institutions is always reinventing the wheel. And I thought to myself, once I go to UPENN, the fact that I'm doing 2 degrees in 4 years instead of 8 is daunting. There's a lot of workload, a lot of course load to cover through. And I highly doubt I'll get even an ounce of time to record a video and share all my insights about the college application process for universities in the USA. And I will make myself part of that group that leaves without leaving a blueprint behind for others to follow. Of course, it's justified. I mean, they don't have to, because then that if you weren't there helping them through the struggles of applying, I mean, when it's time to celebrate, it will be shameful to be entitled. So I don't blame them at all. It's actually justified. They don't have to. But it's what you decide to do. And I've decided, let me leave a blueprint behind. And that's why on my Instagram, _it's_Socrates, you'll find a plethora of information about my entire journey, from how I was applying to UPENN, everything, my achievements and accolades, my personal life, my everything is there. To just give you an insight of the kind of person that had to become, the kind of person that I had to grow into to meet the opportunity where it was. I don't think if I'm making sense. I had to grow into someone. I had to grow into the Socrates that was worthy of this opportunity. And my Instagram page is the perfect place to learn all this and see the entire journey of the person that I had to grow into to be worthy of the opportunities I got. That is also why I use social media as an active channel for good. Because I know people can draw so much inspiration from people's stories. Only if those stories are there. I'm going to make my stories available. I'm already inspired by my story, And I hope that you will too. So, prior to my departure on the 17th of July, I'm going to be making a series of videos with the international students in mind. And because the international students is a broad spectrum, because my interest particularly is African scholars, highly, can I say, academically gifted, talented, ambitious, hungry African scholars who know that they deserve better. You know, you can know that you deserve better, who know that they deserve better, and are willing to put in the work and pay the price to get their dues. Yes, I'm talking to you. 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 This is my story. This video is going to be a particularly long one because normally my videos are 8 minutes long, but I see that it's going to be like 20 minutes long because it's an interesting story. While I was applying to the University of Pennsylvania, it was so scary for me. It was such a scary process because one, I don't know anyone in my family who has ever gotten into an Ivy League. Two, all of my siblings studied in Kenyan institutions. Therefore, me trying to come up with the story that I'm going to go study in the USA was something that was a little bit far-fetched and out of reach. It was like a pipe dream. Three, at that time, my self-esteem was below sea level, and I really could not believe that I, as Socrates, could make it in these top 10 institutions with acceptance rates of less than 4%, with more than 60,000 applicants annually. I just didn't see myself amongst that minority. And so at the onset, it's like I had already eliminated myself from the race even before the race began. So I didn't lose a race. I'd already eliminated the possibility of winning in a race that I refused to participate in. That was where I was. And so like I said, this message is for you. You highly talented, academically robust, brilliant, African kid who knows that you deserve, who knows that he or she deserves better. Because you deserve better. And you're willing to put in the work to ensure that that better which you seek comes sooner than later. Just as it has come for me, it will come for you. I'm going to be doing my content in both English and French. Because like I said, my target is the African audience. And the African continent as you know it, we have Francophones and Anglophones. Luckily, and by the grace of God, I am fluent in both languages. I'm fluent in both English and French. And I shall tell you guys the story of how I began learning French and how it was such a serendipitous encounter that changed my life forever, for good. So I shall be doing, for every 2 videos I'm doing in English, one of them will be in French, the same message, so that I can reach out to that kid in Congo, that kid in Senegal, that kid right there in Côte d'Ivoire, Mauritius, Comoros. I can get you where you are. And you see, the interesting thing is that when you see that I, Socrates, a Kenyan kid, I'm not born from an affluent society or an affluent community. I'm just like you, if not, no better at all. And if I was able to realize such levels of esteemed greatness, I'm not special. You could too. And throughout my entire journey, we're going to see how this young boy, born when it was raining by the lakeside of Lake Victoria, hailed from the lake, and now will hail on thrones where kings reside. That is the proclamation I give myself. This is my story. Applying to these universities, especially as an international student, is one of the scariest things you can ever do. Because one, you can't get accepted, but they don't give you financial aid. That means that yes, you've been accepted to this school, but you can't afford it. Therefore, economically, you're locked out. 2, you can also fail to be accepted because either you didn't merit the position, or 2, there were just so many applicants and they had to sift through and you were locked out. So many things come into play. And where I was, I took a leap of faith. I finished high school in 2022. And upon finishing high school, as usual, there's always this gap here from finishing high school. So we finished high school in December. I finished high school in December 2022, and I had some time from January all the way till September before I transitioned into university. So at that point in time, there was this burning sensation in my heart that I wanted more. I wanted better. I was hungry. I was thirsty, rather. And I wanted to be ravished. I wanted more. I wanted better. I wanted a novel experience, something that will transform and radicalize my life. And I knew that I couldn't get it here within the borders of this country because the opportunities are so limited. They are limited, and you can only do so much with the little that are available. Yes, you can do something, but you can only do so much. And I knew from my upbringing, I knew from my education at Starehe Boys Center that I was destined for the global stage. And if I was to take this national path, I would have condemned myself to that. And there would be no turning back. So I was at home, and at that time, I was very much excited about exploring possibilities. And for me, I love oratory. I was an orator in English. And so I asked myself, can I achieve the same fluency in French just as I can in English? Or at that time, it was any foreign language. So I was vacillating between German and French. And in the end, I ended up with French because I had gotten some early exposure to French while in my junior classes in high school. And the teachers there were amazing. But I wasn't able to cover enough content in French to make any headway in the language. So I was still like at a 1, but I'd gotten some exposure from some of the teachers who are there, because for me at that time I was inclined to IT, so I did computer studies instead of French. But I was able to get some exposure, which gave me some insight about what I'm heading into. And so when I joined my French class A1, on March 11th, I joined that class with 2 intentions. One was I wanted to be fluent in French just as I am fluent in English. 2, I wanted to go study in France, or just a francophone country outside of Kenya, because I knew that as soon as I get to between French, doors will open and I'll be able to leave the country and pursue my further studies out there. Because for me, I told myself I'm not studying here in Kenya. Come rain, come sunshine. May the world burn, but it won't burn finding me in Kenya doing my degree course here. Not that I have anything against the Kenyan institutions, I just knew what I wanted, and that was not it. Know what you want, or else the world will give you anything. And so that was a personal decision that I had made in my heart and soul, but I still had not communicated that to my parents. They didn't know, because at that time I was called to do medicine at one of the fancy schools here in Kenya. And I sat down with myself, I took myself on a pep talk and asked myself, Socrates, are you the kind of person who's going to lock himself up in a room studying anatomy, sunrise to sunset? I'm like, no, I'm the kind of person who loves engaging, interacting. I love reading. There's a word for it. I've forgotten. Epistemophilia. Yes, I think it's epistemophilia if I'm not wrong. The kind of person who loves reading for the sake of reading. A desire for knowledge, a love for knowledge. Epistemophilia, that's it. And I knew that I'm that kind of person. And so while I was exploring my possibilities, I knew that I wanted a liberal arts education, an education that's ouvert, open, globally minded. And I knew that the only place that I could find that is in an Ivy League institution or a liberal arts school. That's what I wanted. And so I switched that was just a seed planted in my mind. But again, I switched from medicine, a course that I was selected to do, to law, something much more. Because my dad told me, okay, if you don't want to do medicine, okay, pick a serious course. Because there's this, the serious courses: medicine, law, architecture, engineering. If they don't fall within that spectrum, it's not a serious course in the African mindset. Can I say the boomer? Because things have changed. like the boomer African mindset. And so my dad told me, pick a serious course, huh? Pick a serious course. Don't just pick these courses here. Pick a serious course. And so I switched to law. And when I switched to law, I didn't even have a problem with law. I was actually excited to do it. But I had made a vow to myself that come rain, come sunshine, I'm not studying within the confines of my country because I wanted better and I knew that I deserved better. So I was eating one day in some shanty. They're called kibandas in Kenya, but shanties is a proper word. So I was eating one day in a shanty. I was eating some chapati and chapati madondo. Chapati madondo is chapati and beans. So living in a shanty somewhere, chapati madondo, and I was just thinking, is this the life I want for myself? Do I really want to study in this country? And when the answer was a definite no, I went to my parents and I told them, Mom, Dad, I'm not going to university. I'm not going to med school. I'm not going to law school.